So if you guys remember, I made a video on Netflix's Cleopatra docuseries that apparently is coming out, and that video surprisingly did very well. I didn't think a lot of people were going to care too much about that particular subject, but surprisingly, a lot of you guys did. And recently, I came across an article that was interesting, and I wanted to bring it to you guys' attention because it goes to show the levels of hypocrisy that's going on right now between the Lilo and Stitch thing, the Little Mermaid thing, and now Cleopatra, who is an actual real live person who lived at one point in time. They're perfectly fine with changing someone who is literally a real person versus changing a fictional character where they're losing their minds with Lilo and Stitch because the casting is a little too white for their liking. So now, apparently, according to this article from Bounding Into Comics, it says Change.org removed a petition that was calling on Netflix to cancel the race-swapped Queen Cleopatra docuseries due to historical inaccuracy and claims it violated community guidelines by creating the petition in the first place. That is absolutely wild to me because, again, these people who run these websites with the same mindset that they're perfectly fine with race swapping Little Mermaid, they're perfectly fine with race swapping Cleopatra, but I guarantee if there happened to be a petition for people to try to cancel the Lilo and Stitch remake because it was too white, they would have left it up guaranteed. So let's see what bullshit fucking excuse that they have for taking this down. So it says, in the latest proof that the Nile is not just a river in Egypt, Change.org has removed the campaign calling on Netflix to cancel their recently announced Queen Cleopatra docuseries due to its blatant historical inaccuracy on the grounds that it supposedly violated the public petition platform's community guidelines. Cleopatra's second entry in producer Jada Pinkett Smith's African Queen series, oh my God. Oh God, Jada Pinkett Smith, man, why are you lying to yourself? Why are you lying to yourself? Why are you so desperate to take queens that were never African queens in the first place and try to make them into such because you don't have much history to show for it? Like, what are you doing? Queen Cleopatra was set out to tell the story of Queen Cleopatra, the world's most famous, powerful, and misunderstood woman, a daring queen whose beauty and romances came to overshadow her real asset, her intellect. Cleopatra's heritage has been subject of much academic debate, which has often been ignored by Hollywood. Read the series' official synopsis. Now our series reassesses this fascinating part of her story. Well, first off, it's not really up for much academic debate. I don't really know where you're getting that from. But again, Jada Pinkett Smith is pretty much just making shit up as she goes along. I would almost guarantee you that. Or she probably has someone in her ear who swears they tell her that they know history and they actually don't really know history. But again, not really shocked. And even if they are wrong, blatantly wrong in this scenario, does it really matter? No, because they're going to get to do it anyway. And they're going to try to put it out there as the truth because they want to try to change history little by little. Eventually, as older people die off, less and less people will fight this until eventually it becomes the norm that Cleopatra was black, even though she was never black. So again, this is just their whole strategy, and it's an end game. It's a long game. In a statement provided to the media in promotion of the series, Pinkett Smith argued, "We don't often get to see or hear stories about black queens, and that was really important for me, and as well as for my daughter, and just for my community to be able to know those stories because there are tons of them. So if there are tons of them, why are you making one up?" It doesn't like why are you making one up? If there's tons of black queens out there, please provide us with actual historical factual information of said black queens. Don't steal white queens just to try to fill your pockets. Again, it's stupid. Everybody can see right through. We can all see that you're lying through your teeth. Cleopatra is a queen who many may know about, but not in her truth. That's how you know right off the bat that she's lying. When she uses words like "my truth," that automatically makes her a liar, guaranteed. She's been displayed as overly sexual, excessive, and corrupt, yet she was a strategist, an intellect, a commanding force of nature who fought to protect her kingdom, and her heritage is highly debated. This season, we'll dive deeper into her history and reassess this fascinating part of her story. However, as historical records prove, Cleopatra was not black, but rather Macedonian Greek, having inherited both her heritage and her throne as the queen of the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt through her blood relation to the founder of the Ptolemaic Empire, Ptolemy Isoter. Now, I went over this in the last video video that I made about Cleopatra, and it looks like Bounding into Comics is going over it again. But just for some added context, yes, she was Macedonian Greek. There was no fucking way this was an African queen at all. And to say that is pure blasphemy. They are trying to lie through their teeth because it tries to make them look good. But again, there's no reason to do so if supposedly so many black queens existed in history. Why don't you go tell the real story? The reason why, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty obvious, is because Cleopatra is more well known, is more famous in history, and because of that, they want to try to steal the clout from that person and bring it over to the black side. They do this all the time. They do it with a lot of entertainment, TV shows, movies, characters, all these quote-unquote fictional characters that the skin color doesn't matter. Now, all of a sudden, you have a real person, a live person who was alive at one point in time, who has a real history to them, and suddenly they're race swapping that character too, or that person too. It's like, what are you doing here, you know? It says this mistaken belief, not that the ancient ruler was black, appears is nothing more than a wishful thinking put forth by some contemporary scholars based solely on a theory that because the exact identity of Cleopatra's mother has been lost to the sands of time, there exists a possibility that she could have been a native African. Notably, based on records of the time, many experts on the topic have come to speculate that Cleopatra VII's mother was Cleopatra V, the only confirmed wife of Cleopatra VII's father, Ptolemy XII. And while Cleopatra V's exact parentage remains unknown, it is believed that she may have been yet another descendant of the family line, meaning Cleopatra VII would have received her Greek heritage from both of her parents, which makes her obviously not African. Fed up with this historical revisionism, two individuals boasting actual Egyptian heritage took to Change.org following the series' announcement to call on Netflix to cancel Queen Cleopatra due to its falsifying history. Afrocentrism is a pseudoscience that is pushing a group's agenda to claim Egypt's history and rob the actual Egyptians from it, explained Maha Shihata and Aik Yassir. By using false articles and zero evidence, they are still attempting to falsify history. I would have signed this petition. I wish I would have knew it was up. Cleopatra was born in Alexandria, Egypt, in the Ptolemaic dynasty to Greek descent. The pair continues, she was not black. This is in no way against black people, and it is simply a wake-up call to preserve the history and the integrity of the Egyptians and the Greeks. The show is clearly done to complement the Afrocentric movement, which claims to be the owner of the ancient Egyptian civilization, and to consolidate what the movement promotes. I think that's very well said. I think that is extremely well said. So whoever made, the two people who made this particular petition, you did a great job. And you need to make another petition somehow, some way, and not use this website that's obviously in identity politics and not focus on doing the right thing. Because again, everything they just said is exactly true. This is nothing against black people. It is not a sin to say that somebody was not a black person. But apparently, according to Jada Pinkett Smith, it must be. And they get highly offended when you try to even say that this person was not black. Then it says Egypt was never black and it was never white. Egypt is just Egypt. Shahata and Yassir ultimately declared there are many great African/black civilizations, but Egypt was and is not one of them. Sign the petition to stop the falsification of history. I would have loved to sign that. In a disclaimer later added to the end of their petition, the two further asserted, please do not use this in any way, shape, or form to be racist or prejudiced against black people or anyone else. This is no fuel for nationalism either, only a call for the truth. Well, according to that, truth is very racist to these people, so you don't want to necessarily hit them with the truth all at once. Unfortunately, Shahata and Yassir's dedication to objective historical truth would ruffle the feathers of Change.org, as the petition would be pulled by the site's administrators the very next day. According to a message sent to both of the campaign organizers and later shared to the individual Instagram accounts, this action was taken because information you've included in your petition violates our community guidelines. Well, what exactly violates the community guidelines, I wonder? Though Change.org did not specify which of their... Oh, shocker. Of course, shocker. Why would they specify the reason for which they took it down? Of course they're not going to, because if they did, they would get called out for the absolute nonsense of their policies. However, a review of their policies suggests the site believed the petition to be an instance of hate speech against an entire class of people because of a characteristic they share. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. The fact that they even try to classify this as hate speech just goes to show just how far gone change.org is. Honestly, if any of you guys use change.org, I would highly suggest you probably find something else to use. So, anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.